All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Henry Kramer, 605 Chaser, and welcome to the show. We got a couple of things that we need to get to. First off, take a look at this. This is today's outlook. We do have a 2% risk for tornadoes. We also have the damaging wind threat. This is mainly going to be out into central South Dakota and western South Dakota. The probabilistic of large hail. That is slowly diminishing. As you can see there, there's 5% risk. So it's not as huge. I think the main thing is going to be the wind threat and then a very isolated risk for tornado threat. There are some indications as well that there's a possibility for more of the rainy event. And let me kind of explain what I mean by that. Excessive rainfall outlook. If we take a look at that through our WeatherWise app here, we could show you that 1 second. I got too many things up. Let me show you that right there. We go. All right, so this is an excessive rainfall outlook for today. As you can see, Huron all the way back to Pierre. So there's going to be that chance for some localized flooding, but it eventually will dissipate. Main thing is this is expected to go late night tonight, sometime after 6 or 7 as one of the models, and we'll show you those weather models as well. As far as the overall outlooks, for categorical outlook, let's take a look at that. We do have, again, this slight risk here. This is for today, and then a marginal risk right here. This includes Sioux Falls, Mitchell, DeSmet area. Now that tornado risk, it shows a little bit easier on this app here. Mitchell, Parkston, Tyndall, Winter. I do believe that once it gets into this area right in here, one of the weather models is suggesting that it could ramp up with that tornado threat somewhere in here, maybe even possibly here. But it is a little too difficult of a forecast to really plan, if you will. If I was chasing, honestly, the area that I would chase would be right smack dab in Charles Mix County area, right there. If I was chasing today, that would be my target zone. We'll see how that plays out and see if that holds true. I'm not expecting any huge tornado outbreaks or anything like that today. Just stay weather aware with regards to that. I did plot a few things already with respect to um, some areas. So based on one of the weather models, Gettysburg area, that is one spot just to the southeast of Gettysburg later this evening. Even areas just to the northeast of Parkston and northwest of Freeman area, right along that Highway 44. Those will be a couple of areas as well, could see some spin ups today. But let's go ahead and dive right into the weather models and show you that a little bit better here. That probably is going to be a whole lot easier. HRRR weather model, if we look at the significant tornado parameters here, as you can see, it doesn't really show up a whole lot until 21Z, which that ends up being 5 p.m. If I can count, that might be a little bit hard. 4 p.m., my apologies. 4 p.m. on August 13th, so today, 4 p.m. as we have STP numbers very, very small, nothing real significant at all. Let's take a look at what HRRR has as far as like what a composite reflective or a reflective radar would look like estimates of the timing on this. As you can see, this particular weather model does show north central South Dakota showing up around 15Z or 10 o'clock this morning, and that could end up hindering some of the later on development that would be to the south. So just depends on which weather model is going to play out. As we get to 22Z, we really see that ramp up over in areas of northeast South Dakota, but also in western parts of South Dakota. There's a few cells that could get a little bit further along. And as I could take a look at this is around 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Nothing real huge, not real organized in my opinion. It's a little more organized right around here. That would be around 9 p.m. But by the time we get to 10 o'clock, it just kind of bleh, turns into garbage. Let's take a look at the NAM. This is what we could see on the NAM at 7 p.m. And this has got much more significant tornado parameter numbers. We've got 4.1, and again, that would be over by that other target around Gettysburg area, a little south of there, maybe just to the west of Huron area. And that would again be based on 7 p.m. And then it kind of goes away, and that's all she wrote. Let's take a look at the composite reflective on that. Now, again, this was updated as 06Z, which would be 1 o'clock this morning. So there isn't another update. So all we could go based on is this uh, model that ran early this morning. All right, let's take a look at that. It shows at 1Z, which would be 8 p.m., do have those southern storms, south central part of South Dakota, even a few isolated shots at some hailers up here. And again, this is probably going to be more of a wind and rain up in the northern portion of South Dakota. Pretty robust up here. And then as we get into tomorrow morning, we're starting to look at 8Z. So this ends up being, here's a look at 7 o'clock in the morning. By the time, so really 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, Sioux Falls area could see some gusty winds, but these are not going to be super significant. These are going to be more along that lines of maybe some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Nothing real huge is expected, in my opinion. All right, let's take a look at Rufus. Take a look at the old Rufius and see what that weather model is suggesting. Take a look here. This weather model is having it much more scattered. And this doesn't even show things showing up until closer to 7 p.m. out west. And all the farther that we could go on that is 10 p.m. And then you could kind of see this becomes more of that rain threat right here. Maybe a few isolated spots here where you could have some brief spin-ups, but nothing real huge up in northeastern. So it just depends on which weather model you really want to look at. Let me just verify day 2 outlook here. That would be tomorrow. Hang on one second. All right, so day 2 outlook for tornadoes, those are possible up in areas of Grand Forks, Jamestown, Valley City, Fargo, some of that area. Take a look at categorical outlook. We do have marginal risk that continues into central parts of South Dakota. That just means marginal risk for some brief hail, could have some wind threat there, but nothing real significant is expected for tomorrow in South Dakota. It's mainly going to be in the northern portion of the plains. Day 3, we get back in it in South Dakota. I do suspect that day 3 we could end up having uptick where we get into this would end up being Friday, I believe. Let me just make sure my math is correct. Yeah, this would be Friday into Saturday. We could have an isolated spot over into areas of along that I-90 area that could have a slight risk. They will likely increase or upgrade this with later future updates, depending on how the weather models play out. There's day 2 or day 1. Can't do anything else other than that. And then we do have this 5% for day 3. Uh, see, this is why we are suspecting some of those hailers. Got that 5% there. And again, anything further out is going to be very difficult to pinpoint. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few things that I also want to show you. The daily precipitation outlook here for today, if it pulls up. Well, that isn't real great. Hang on one second. Yeah, it doesn't show a whole lot, and it shows for today mainly up into areas of northern Minnesota. That's crazy. Over the course of the next few days, let's back this out a little bit. There's going to be some areas like Greenville, over in these southern portions of the United States. Mobile, Alabama, going to be seeing 2 to 3 inches of rainfall over in Pensacola area. So rainy days in the future for areas of Florida. We do not need this one yet. We don't need the winter weather. But I do want to show you the temperature outlooks. Over the 6 to 10 day outlook, you can certainly see that we do have 40% chance of being above normal. Much warmer over in areas of Jackson and Cody, Wyoming areas. And then as we go to the rainfall or precip outlook, we do see that next to 6 to 10 days up in areas of North Dakota, western portions of North Dakota, over the Minot area, going to expect 40% chance of above normal precip. 8 to 14, we're going to still see more of that precip out west, but slowly but surely kind of drying out over the 8 to 14 day outlook. As far as temperatures go for the 8 to 14, we're going to still see more of an equal chance of more seasonal temperatures in Sioux Falls, but the further west you go, the warmer that it gets. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at those weather models a little bit further. I want to dive into those a little bit further with respect to some of the lapse rates, just to kind of see how this could end up playing out here. See if I need to take a day off or not. Actually, let me take a look at the cap. If I take a look at the cap, then I can tell you undoubtedly if there's a better shot of having, see if this updated here. Nope, that's not fully updated. Take a look at this right here. Gosh, those ads drive me nuts. All right, 17Z we are looking at, and that is around noontime. So this indicates a fairly strong cap, negative 230, somewhere in there. Very strong cap around 1 p.m. A little weaker right in here in central portions of South Dakota, and pretty much no cap right here. But this is why the storms are going to have a little bit of a brick wall, if you will, once you get into the Sioux Falls area, because you're going to be dealing with all this. This is going to be convection happening right here. Convection, basically, the storms firing is what I mean. But the strong cap is going to be still there into the evening hours for Sioux Falls area. Let's take a look at that radar estimate again with the HRRR here. 1 second. All right, you can certainly see that moving along into northern portions of South Dakota. But again, this is going to be highly conditional threat here today. Right here, this is around 9 p.m. All right, so if this plays out, it's a big if. This would be an area that I would be interested in. This would be over by the Oak Lane Colony in South Dakota, northeast of Parkston. Again, south of Gettysburg. That would be an interesting spot to scope out and see how that goes. They're going to be very scattered, that's for sure. All right, that is the latest information that we have from the 605 Chaser Studios. I appreciate y'all joining. And I'm trying to see if they're going to have another update, but it doesn't look like I keep forgetting I've started at 7 o'clock versus my usual time. So they're not going to have another SPC update until about 8 o'clock this morning, and that'll be interesting to see. I will do my best to get that posted on my Facebook page and the other social medias. Tropics, I do want to take a look at that. Do want to take a look at that. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick here. 1 second. All right, the Tropics, they are getting ramped up big time. And this is likely going to, let me get my drawer on here. This is likely going to steer this way. That's my opinion. Let me see if I can get those spaghetti models here. Oh, you're there. I know you are. It's always good when you have refused to connect too much. Weather nerds. That's me in a nutshell. Come on. Oh, no, it's there. I'll just go to this one. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this hurricane stuff. All right, there's Aaron. This is the one that we're watching really closely. This is way out in the Atlantic, and there's the storm evolution based on the HWRF weather model. As you can see, it strengthens to 965, 962. Oh, goodness gracious, 955 millibars as it goes into the later part of the weekend. August 17th, we start to see that churn over there. But really, this is going to stay out to sea, in my opinion. But sometime, basically, be watching for this. I don't want to scare y'all. Be watching for it as if it could have that possibility of changing direction instead of going north, like I'm suggesting. There is one possibility that it could end up going this route. There's even a possibility that it could go this route. It all depends on what's going to happen in good old Bermuda area. But as you can see, it certainly is expected to be a major hurricane, category 3, obviously out here. So it is going to impact areas of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and then obviously Bermuda area. So you'll definitely want to stay weather aware if you're planning any trips out in the Caribbean and the tropics. Certainly stay weather aware. As far as other developments, we don't really have much of a shot here for tropical disturbance out into the Gulf of Mexico. Not much at all. There's a little bit of a formation over here, but again, these are all out in western portions of the U.S., on the Pacific. Not expecting a whole lot going on there. This is really our major thing that we need to keep an eye on, and we'll continue to do that here at 605 Chaser. You guys have a great rest of your day. That's all I've got today. I'll again make a post on Facebook with the latest SPC outlook for today and keep my friends in South Dakota weather aware of what is expected. But again, one last quick look at today's outlook for the U.S. We do have that marginal risk over in Harrisburg, Maryland area, and Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, but the main focus for the next few days actually is going to be in the plains. Day 2, North Dakota. Day 3, back to the southern plain or the South Dakota. So next few days, we've got things that we have to report, and we will certainly do that. Will we go live for a chase? That remains to be seen. If something happens Friday, that's possible. Something happens today, not likely. Just for the sheer fact that I got to work. And I don't see anything that really trips my trigger as far as a significant amount of tornadoes. The likelihood of seeing something that's a long-lasting tornado to be able to get into a target zone and be able to capture and be able to save lives, that type of thing, it's going to be very, very small window, very difficult. I would love to be able to have the time to just go on every single chase and everything, every opportunity. That's my ultimate goal. But unfortunately, I don't have that ability. Still got to work the job. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless and stay safe. And then tomorrow I'll be back again for another live update with respect to the severe weather.